Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about another high-profile person online sharing another one of my signature thumbnail pictures. Last time it was about a month ago when Star Wars actor and legendary Hollywood elite Mark Hamill used one of my pics while bashing Trump on Twitter. This was my London protest Trump thumbnail from the story at that time. Hamill shared the pic along with others, all the while hating on our commander-in-chief for some pretty ridiculous reasons. And needless to say, I was none too pleased. Link to my video response to that is below if you want to catch up. And now, a few weeks later, we've got a bigger YouTuber doing the same kind of thing. This time it's the Angry Joe Show, who's coming after us over my Battlefield 5 video and thumbnail. If you hadn't heard, Battlefield 5 has really shot itself in the foot with its initial advertising. They came out with this awful trailer that shows a handless woman as the lead character in a supposedly historically accurate World War II game. And if you hadn't heard, women weren't on the front lines in World War II, and there certainly weren't any amputees getting put back into battles. Not on the front lines, not at all. But historical accuracy wasn't the only issue with Battlefield 5, not even close. Many were also worried because this feminist, all-girl push has failed so many games, franchises, and other media before. Every time the SJWs invade something, they ruin it beyond repair. This is where that new phrase, get woke, go broke, comes from. These companies keep trying to get woke, or progressive and liberal, in SJW, and almost every time they go broke because of it, because real people don't want to buy this SJW bullshit anymore. In addition to that, Battlefield 5's makers, EA and DICE, they decided to double down on their wokeness. They said, screw the fans. If you don't like this premise, don't buy the game. And well, that's exactly what most gamers did. And that brings us back to today's story. Reports are going around everywhere that Battlefield 5 pre-sales are pretty abysmal. They're not doing too good. No one's buying the game and they really shouldn't. The developers themselves even said not to buy it, so we're just listening to their orders at this point. But Angry Joe has some other theories and rationale as to why the game isn't selling. Joe doesn't think it's because they're shoehorning women into it and the SJW bullshit, and it's not because the developers doubled down and shit on the fans either, not according to Joe. We're going to take a look at some of his video today about the topic and see why Joe thinks Battlefield 5 isn't selling well, and I'm going to tell you why he's dead ass wrong. So with all that said, let's go ahead and check out his video. Things start off with Joe going over the low pre-sales of Battlefield 5, like the stuff I said before. People aren't buying the game, probably because the company told them not to. But let's skip ahead to where Joe begins to discuss why he thinks the game's not selling.
Well, if you listen to YouTube and certain channels on YouTube, I watched 4 videos in a row just now because, I care about the Battlefield 5 franchise, and it sucks to watch this video because they're celebrating. They are celebrating the destruction and the lower sales of the Battlefield 5 franchise due to those goddamn liberals and those social warriors putting women in Battlefield.
And there's my thumbnail picture, right at 1 minute and 30 seconds. The very first example picture he shows is from my video. So you'd think he'd watched my video, right? Wrong. I tweeted a photo of this yesterday and Joe actually responded to me, funny enough. He said he didn't watch my video, which to me is a bit weird since he showed my picture. Regardless, he was pretty nice about it. And Joe even put a link to my channel in his video's description, giving me some credit. I didn't ask for that, but it was nice of him to do. However, that's not going to stop me from disagreeing with Joe strongly here. You can already tell by the way he says those darn liberals and SJWs that he's mocking our side of this. And Joe really appears to be left-leaning to me, and he's trying to mock videos like mine that attacked Battlefield 5 for going SJW. Not really sure if this is the hill you want to die on though, Joe. Most people agree EA and DICE fucked this project up pretty bad, and it really surprises me a pro-consumer game reviewer like Joe would back a shitty SJW corporation over the fans. And it appears the fans agree, because it looks like the dislikes are rolling in on Joe's video over this issue. Joe currently has 13,000 dislikes on this video, and he's lost over 1,000 subscribers since it.
The reason why to them that Battlefield 5 is having lower pre-orders is because there are women on the box, there are women featured prominently in the trailers, and there are women in multiplayer.
Nice dramatic pause there, Joe. Kinda reminds me of Mundane Matt, actually. He always does these kinds of dramatic pauses in his videos too, and he's a pretty pro-SJW leftist as well. It makes you wonder, do you think Angry Joe is gonna meet the same fate as Mundane Matt now, after all this? Both their channels could be going down soon. Better keep an eye on them. And it's clear Joe didn't watch my video because my video came out in May when this story first broke, and I never even mentioned any of the pre-sales or any of that. That stuff just came out this week. My video just went over the trailer and the developers telling people not to buy the game. game, like the stuff I mentioned earlier. But for some reason, Joe is ignoring all of that and just focusing on the women part of it. He thinks people aren't buying because there's women in the game, kind of implying everyone's being sexist. And that's why he's doing this smug little pause here. Joe's insinuating we're all sexist when, of course, we're really not.
And they're not going to spend a goddamn dime of their $60 on women being in World War II because that insults their great-grandfather who fought in World War II. No women in World War II, in my fictional World War II. Ha 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 to EA. Victory for Not My Battlefield, hashtag MAGA, Red Hats. Victory against social justice warriors.
Here's where Joe starts showing his political bias again. And he's showing us he doesn't know what he's talking about either. Like, where is he getting this Red Hat MAGA stuff from? It doesn't say that anywhere in these comments at all. Not where he's showing. I get the feeling he's so aloof, he thinks everyone that's against Battlefield 5 is a right-wing Republican, MAGA hat-wearing alt-righter or something. Joe even called me alt-right on Twitter, saying the alt-right need champions on YouTube too, even if they spread drama bullshit. Wink wink. I get it though, it's hot. Plus, your thumbnails are nice and clean and to the point. Well done, Mang. I guess I can kinda let that go since he followed it up by complimenting my thumbnails. Thanks, I guess, but if it wasn't clear, I'm not alt-right. Not at all. I'm just a conservative-leaning, Republican-voting guy who makes videos where I speak my mind. I'm not extreme, and I'm not some kind of activist or anything either. All Joe throwing around labels like this does is show he doesn't know what he's talking about here. And it seems he thinks that it's conservatives and alt-righters who are bringing this game down, when it's really not. The reasons people aren't buying Battlefield 5 really aren't that political at all. This isn't a right versus left issue. What we're talking about here is a gaming company pushing women and feminism into a beloved series. And they're throwing out one of the game's biggest tenets, historical accuracy. And then, on top of that, they're shitting on their fans while they do it. The people who are upset and not buying this game aren't just conservatives. This is pissing off all gamers, whether they be liberals, progressives, conservatives, or Republicans. Everyone is against this except EA, DICE, and now it looks like Angry Joe.
That's actually not true. This guy made millions of dollars while he was there. And it may be that he's not leaving the company because of what you think he is leaving the company. If you do a little bit more research here, you'll see that the publisher really wanted him to stay. They gave him a $20 million bonus to this guy.
Here Joe is talking about Sutherland, the specific game developer who shit on the fans and gave them that ultimatum: deal with this feminism in Battlefield 5 or don't buy the game. This Sutherland guy recently left the company too, probably because he single-handedly ruined this game's chances of ever working out. But Angry Joe, being the contrarian he is, and a wannabe smart guy, well, Joe claims he did more research than all of us. So that's why he thinks that Sutherland did not leave because of Battlefield 5. And he even goes so far as to say the company gave him a bonus and wanted him to stay. I'm not buying any of that bullshit though. It's no coincidence that Sutherland left now. The timing is just too perfect. We all know he was shit canned for shitting on the fans and having it backfire and cause low pre-sales for Battlefield 5.
Nobody knows what's next for him or why exactly he left. But conservatives on YouTube will tell you that the reason why he left is because there is lower pre-orders because of, you know, the women in Battlefield 5, and because they said accept it or don't buy it, and people actually went out and didn't buy it.
Again with the conservative claims. Joe, I don't know if you're aware of this, but loads of people made anti-Battlefield 5 videos, and I'm probably the only openly conservative one that did it, which makes it even funnier because you didn't even watch my video. You can't make this shit up. This is some simpleton thinking if you ask me. Joe seems to think that everyone who disagrees with him is conservative or something, and everyone who doesn't like Battlefield 5 is a right-winger, which of course is not true at all.
It couldn't be that, you know, October is notoriously such a filled month that I call it Broketober, and I can't freaking possibly review every single freaking game in October, and then it's sandwiched in between two of the biggest releases, not to mention all the other games that come out around the same time.
I'm sensing your sarcasm here, Joe. Laying it on a little thick for my taste, but I'll go ahead and bite. It appears Joe's implying that this fall season is crowded for video game releases, so that's why Battlefield 5 isn't selling well yet. And this is possible, sure, but let's be real. The list he's showing only has like 8 games highlighted, presumably highlighted because they're the bigger, higher profile ones. And of those, I would say only a few are super noteworthy. Spider-Man should be pretty huge. It's a new take on a very popular comic book hero after all. But besides that, only Red Dead Redemption 2 2 looks like the other heavy hitter here. Spider-Man and Red Dead are totally different genres than Battlefield as well. They don't exactly compare head to head, so I would say Black Ops 4 is closer in competition with it. But regardless of that, I still don't think this excuse is valid. If people weren't turned off by the marketing, Battlefield 5 would obviously be doing much better. The crowded release schedule may have a small effect on things, but it's not nearly as big a deal as Joe implies. Really seems like Joe is shilling here at this point. He sounds like he's searching for reasons to defend Battlefield, whether it's because EA is paying him or maybe it's because it's his favorite game, as he said before. It could make Joe a little more attached and emotional about this.
It couldn't be that this Battlefield 5 is the most poorly marketed Battlefield I've ever seen in my history of following the Battlefield franchise. And you guys know how much I love Battlefield. It was awful. I mean, yeah, there was a 3-hour closed door, behind the door session for influencers, press.
Yeah, it was because of poor marketing, but it's not because of the demos and the presentations that Joe's talking about. The poor marketing was with the trailer and the developer Sutherland telling fans not to buy it. I don't know why Joe can't see or admit that this is the real issue. Instead, he's excuse making and saying it was other bad marketing. And well, whatever the other stuff was, at least we can agree the marketing was bad and it's causing the game not to sell. That's for sure. In the end, the people have spoken here. They're not buying Battlefield 5 and they really shouldn't. That dickhead at DICE told us not to buy it after all. And despite Joe's best efforts at defending the game, the people have spoken and said Joe was wrong too. That's why his video has 13,000 dislikes as of today. And that's why he's lost over 1,000 subscribers this weekend. My channel, on the other hand, has been kicking ass. I've gained thousands of subscribers and my Battlefield 5 videos have all done exceedingly well. And that's because I'm extremely talented and ridiculously good looking. And also, more importantly, I'm on the right side of this issue. But unfortunately for Hangry Jose, he's just not getting it. What do you guys think? Are the low pre-sales of Battlefield 5 due to them going SJW and shitting on fans? Or is it because this fall gaming season is already really crowded, like how Joe said? And do you think Joe is going to continue to get shit because of this video? I've already seen a lot of people talking about it in the comments and on Twitter. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.